guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amy Anna and this is the first episode of my new series, Traveling to China. So I just wanted to make a few videos that capture all the tips and experiences I've learned through traveling there. In this video, we're going to go over the 5 top things I think you should know before you get going. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. 我们走吧. Right guys, if you didn't get that, that was 我们走吧, which means let's go in Chinese. Right, let's get going with number 1. Before you even set on to China, you need a good tourism visa. Now, the English passport gets you to many countries all over the world, but nobody can get into China without a visa. Literally nobody, unless you have a Chinese passport. Luckily, a tourism visa is very useful once you've got it. For example, it can last up to 2 years. You can have multiple entries of up to 90 days. It's just literally a page taken up in your passport that has your visa in it. However, the process can take a while into getting one, so do make sure you prepare in advance. The main thing you will need is that flight booking and accommodation. They will want to know exactly where you're staying, your accommodation, the address of your hotel. In my case, I did 2 months at a university, so the university sent me an invitation letter. That's an alternative way you can do it. If you have a friend in China, they can invite you to China, and that actually quickens the process as well. And the majority of the application is all online through the Chinese embassy website. You do eventually have to go for an interview at one of the Chinese embassies in the UK. So that's either London, Edinburgh, Manchester, and there's a few others as well. The interview is not an interview, it's really simple. They ask you a few questions and you just have to have the application form, the documents all printed out, as well as your passport. This is a scary bit, which I don't like doing. You have to give them your passport to send off. So I recommend taking with you a first class envelope that can be tracked. It normally costs around £10, but it's worth it. So it is a bit of a long-winded process, but like I said, once you've got the visa, it does last for a long time and you can have multiple entries of 90 days. That's 3 months. It's quite a long time you can spend. Number 2, China is all about technology, and one major app you can't go to China without knowing about is WeChat. WeChat is basically the ultimate social media app in China. That is because most of the social media apps we take for granted around the world are banned in China. I'm talking Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, just to name a few. They can't even see this video. Unless you have a VPN, a virtual private network, you cannot access any of the apps that we do take for granted. Instead, you have to use WeChat for almost everything. But WeChat, you can do messaging on, you have a story function, news feed, but most importantly, the payment option. Payments through this app are essential, and China is slowly becoming completely paperless regarding money. It's amazing, even at a tiny little corner shop, there'll be a little QR code to scan and pay. So paper money is becoming non-existent, especially in the big cities, Shanghai, Hangzhou, Beijing. You've got just the WeChat app. Up until around December last year, so December 2019, you could only set up the payment option on the app by having a Chinese bank card. In December 2019, that all changed. Now, foreigners can use a foreign bank card to set up the payment option on WeChat. However, at this point, I would like to mention that there is other payment apps available in China, like how we have Revolut card and stuff like that. Theirs is known as AliPay. Now, AliPay has a lot less bugs as such, especially for foreign travelers. I would recommend using AliPay instead. I put a nice link in the description. That is a great website that talks you through setting up the payments. I do recommend setting this up before you go to China because, like I said, a lot of places won't accept paper money. It's so much easier to use this app. Number 3 is government control. In China, you do have to be careful. Although it is really nice, you feel safe. There's a lot of cameras everywhere there watching you all the time, really. They're only watching for the bad stuff though. So it is just like having security cameras everywhere. I would research kind of the political situation in China before you go, especially if you're going to go to non-touristy places. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to cause any drama. Number 4 is food. In the UK, we all know and love Chinese takeaway, right? Okay, Chinese takeaway is nothing compared to actual Chinese food. And people say that, but believe me, from my own experience, it's completely, chalk and cheese, meh. Your stomach will not be prepared for the food. That is the main thing. So be prepared to have quite a few stomach upsets. The first time I went to China, I had a lot of trouble because, you're in a new country, you're just trying everything. You're like, oh my God, it looks amazing. Try. Be careful. And I'm actually as well gluten-free. I'm going to do another separate video on how to be gluten-free in China because it is a little bit of a struggle. Also, being vegetarian is pretty hard as well because literally everything has meat in. Everything has meat and normally covered in soy sauce, which is not gluten-free. But what I recommend is avoiding street food as such. All the food looks amazing. The smells are like, do avoid it because they do not follow clean and healthy hygiene standards. Obviously, it's fine for the locals because they are adapted to that. But if you're not planning on living in China for a long period of time, it's really not worth it for your stomach and you're not going to enjoy your time. What I recommend is going to eat at a proper restaurant. They are so cheap anyway. And if in doubt, there's a McDonald's literally on every block. Finally, number 5, the language barrier. Most places you go in the world, France, Spain, you can get by a bit of bonjour, hola, and English. Most people will understand. But in China, it's a bit different. English is taught as a second language in most schools. So the younger generation in China, their English is actually really good. But like adults and older generation, their English isn't as good. There is quite a strong language barrier. It is worth learning some phrases, taking a good translator app as well. The first time I went to China, I started learning Chinese on Duolingo and Memrise. They're really great apps just to get you going with the phrases. Say in other languages, some of the words are very similar, like toilet can go everywhere in most worlds. If you say I need the toilet, people will understand. Unless you're in the US, they'll be like, what? Do you mean the restroom? Whereas in China, toilet is 洗手间. Like that doesn't even relate. These tips weren't meant to put you off. I hope they didn't, but if anything, they should make you more interested in how diverse and different China is compared to the rest of the world. Obviously, with the current situation and coronavirus, not many people probably want to go there, but it is one country you should definitely put on your bucket list. There are so many things to learn and explore, but just make sure you prepare before. Oh, that rhymes. Okay. Anyway, check out the links that I provided in the description below, and I will see you in the next episode of Traveling to China. Bye, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like.